Okay, yet again onto the breach turn 5, and a bit of a mixed turn, but let's go through it. Before we do it, just something I was reflecting on. I really wish that you could do this Bless effectively on a different chassis. Um, Not just because the Frostfather is a god of cold in a heat 2 Dominion, who knows fire magic. I guess that's fine. But also just I feel really vulnerable having a 15 HP unit with 6 attack and 9 defense because he's debuffed by the heat. In my capital with Misfortune 3, just waiting for some sort of random assassination event. So you can bet that as soon as I have construction, or as soon as someone has construction, I am buying this guy. I don't care how gem efficient it is. I'm going to buy armor. I'm going to buy shield, misc items. Like, I am going to kit this guy out so that he can survive long enough in a random assassination to just destroy whatever is at him with his magic. I'll probably give him some gems too. Just because I am so paranoid every turn that Misfortune 3 is going to come along and kill my god and take my Incarnate Bless offline, because Fate Weaving, Quickness, and Shock Weapons are all Incarnate. So, yeah, pray for Air Taxi Immortal, guys. Let's keep him alive. Okay. 150 more gold from Orm, and that's unfortunately the last of the gravy train we got from settling our territorial claims. Orm has now agreed a border that probably favours him more than me, but I really needed the early gold insertion. And we haven't technically agreed to a peace deal yet, though I'd feel pretty bad stabbing him like immediately. Proclamation from Ys. They finally named their prophet. And then there were a couple battles. And the first and one of the most interesting ones is over here in Xanthrast, where we saw Uruk's Awake Titan God. That's right, guys. New Awake Titan meta. I am so impressed right now. This is the first Forsaken Lion, the Anunnaki of Growth and Rebirth. So the Anunnaki of Growth and Rebirth is a nature Earth Titan chassis, which has spring immortality. So at the beginning of every spring, if it dies, it will come back to life. Oh, he's already got a chest wound plus. If he dies and comes back as an immortal, there's a chance this will be removed. So he may actually choose to do that deliberately. So he's got encumbrance 7. Ouch. However, he naturally has, let me see if I can find it here. I'm not sure if it's listed. The Anunnaki of Growth and Rebirth has a built-in Vine Shield effect and always spawns a bunch of random chaff animals with it in battle. And he's combined that, despite the fact he's only got a 22 damage fist attack and attack 14, so not much offensive power. He's combined that with E7 N7, which gives him the dreaded Regeneration Fortitude Bless. So he takes... When you attack this guy, first you have to get through the Vine Shield. If you get through the Vine Shield, you do half damage once you hit him. And the regeneration is on this ludicrous hitbox bar. So he's currently 12 per turn. So naturally, he's in his Dominion at the moment, obviously, because he's blessed. But yeah, 12 hit points per turn regeneration. So, against mere independence, and this is a good blob of independence, that would probably wipe out one of my expansion parties without much trouble, as long as I didn't assassinate the commanders. He charges forward. His poor animals start getting massacred. They charge the spear lines, the fearsome deer. They take damage, and then people start trying to stab him, but these are militia, and militia are only MR10. They're just only human standard, and it's an MR roll to beat Vine Shield. They stab him, they do some damage. But what you'll see is they'll struggle even with a full surround, because so many of them are being caught up in this Vine Shield, way before you have construction, that essentially he can more or less regen through everything. The archers are doing more damage to their own troops than him, and he just punches people slowly to death. He's now under 90 hit points, so he's regenerating. He's picked up weakened, so he's now only doing 18 damage, but 18 damage is still enough to slowly kill human infantry. So yeah, he sits there, he takes damage. Oh, he goes down to 77. Still regenerating, punches. Then he's back up to 94. So depending on RNG, he takes more or less damage any given round, but he's blocking most attacks with his Vine Shield, and when he does take attacks, he halves it, and he's regenerating sufficiently quickly. Archers are out of ammo now. They come in. They're sick and tired of shooting at him to no avail. Let's speed it up. And yeah, he just sits there punching, kills one guy every couple of rounds, regens through everything, and very, very slowly. This guy would be so much better with the brand, but obviously we don't have him this early in the game. I think he's got profuse bleeding now, so that's adding more damage over time. That's bad. That's a classic SC killer. And this just goes on and on. And even with the bleeding, they can't kill him. So literally just punching fools. Just punching fools every couple of turns. He's fatigued out. He's at 111 fatigue. He's got a limp now, so he's seriously disabled. So, like, an Awake Monster would be much more effective than this, but it's doing the job, and it's carrying a good bless. The difference between this and an Awake Monster is that this guy will be so much better with full slots once he's kitted. Like, he'll have a built-in Vine Shield, he can carry another shield, he'll carry a brand which overcomes the problem with this. But at the end of the day, he's immortal, he's relatively low risk, and he's cool because you're bringing in Awake Titan, and Awake Titans are mega cool. Independent armies are routed. Uruk, a few more afflictions, but he can lose those by dying. Wins and chases them off the field. So, well done, Anunnaki Growth and Rebirth. Punch 15 people to rout the 58 enemies. Then we had two battles. So first we had the battle which was happening to our east. So this is where we collected the remnants of our initial starter army and added a few sacreds for extra value, but not many sacreds. I got greedy here. I got greedy here by sending in a group with too few sacreds, not to spoil the result. And again, the enemy spawns with 3 commanders. If they had spawned with 1, and the drop had been better. See, if you see here, Nazca, like all paratroops, lives or dies by drop accuracy, right? Like, if paratroopers drop off target, if they drop in a swamp, if they drop too close or too far from enemy positions, paratroopers will almost always be overwhelmed by an enemy with superior heavy equipment and firepower and local logistics and whatnot. And Nazca is very similar to paratroopers, conceptually. Here, we dropped a little short. And by dropping short, we ended up between the commanders and the troops. They've got surrounds on our guys. We're going to get harassed down. We're going to take a lot of attacks each. See here, harass penalty 4. Yeah, so these guys are going to die, and they're not going to get to the critical targets. And it's going to hurt to watch. So this is a turn of Sacred Production being massacred by militia. And this is why Nazca is not Ashdod. Birds are not giants. Birds need numbers, birds need masses. Watch as my human troops are massacred by independent heavy infantry. Birds are really picky, birds need to outnumber the enemy, birds only achieve efficiency in high numbers, whereas giants are great at achieving efficiency in relatively low numbers. Sorry, some water there. Anyway, we lose that. And in the process, we lose an Uphill, which is perfectly fine, I don't care. Our Indy commander survives and retreats. We lose all 4 of our sacreds. The human warriors go extinct, and we're not going to recruit many more. And we lose a spearman. And on retreat, we lose a few more units. So this sucks. We killed 16 of the defenders, 1 of the commanders, 3 of the heavy infantry. We killed all of the militia. Yay. So this group is now much weaker, but a failed expansion is a failed expansion. A failed expansion means you miss out on a turn of income from the province, at least 1 turn of income, which would have been significant. That's like 10 units equivalent in additional losses just not taking it. Plus, we don't have the momentum from the expansion party. So we lost momentum from the party, the gold value of the party, and the foregone gold value of the province. So that stung. Over here, we attacked this province, and things went better. Because I brought more sacreds. I think that's a simple answer. Here, the difference is, again, we've got 3 commanders. Not as closely positioned to their supporting force, which is good for flyers because it makes the target clearer. And I brought more killing power in the form of more sacreds. Twice as many, I think. So in this case, when you see the drop, done. Battle over. And that was that. So the result is we took the province, we lost one spearman, killed everything, life was good. So we took Bogadin. Our first Apu, as I said, died, and he is now going to spend the rest of his eternal life summoning slaves. Great, capturing some debtors to force into Nazca's army. So we took Bogadin. Bogadin's great. There's only 8 unrest there, 78 income, significant boost to our income, along with Orm's comments. Now, with this Titan here, I will make contact with Uruk, preferably friendly contact with Uruk, because he hasn't crossed my red line yet. But there's a danger. I don't think he'll do it, because I don't think, even with his Dominion, that he'll do well against these heavy cavalry that are here. But there's a chance that he's moving over here. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to send the scout up here to scout this potential farmland as one of my next expansion targets. And this weakened expansion party, because it's now only archers and attack rear troops, is going to try and pinch this low value 45 income province, but it's a province. It's a province, and turn economy is important, so I'm going to use this weak force and take it. The Apu, who wants to be promoted up the Nazcan social ladder, is going to do so by gloriously suiciding himself into this province to see how much heavy cavalry there is, because that'll determine when I can take Helmshire, if I can agree with Uruk to let me take Helmshire. And I think we'll be able to negotiate something. These are within 2 of my capital. I don't think people want an early war with Nazca. They won't take into account the fact it's me, they'll take into account the fact it's Nazca. And as a result, I'm hoping that, like Ulm, they will fold and allow me to make at least reasonable demands, or in Ulm's case, pay me to not make ridiculous demands, which is great. I'm much benefiting here from the agreements I've reached with Ashdod, and the agreements that are now set in stone with Machaka. Well, set in stone but continually developing. These create what I would call, if I was playing diplomacy rather than dominions, internal spaces. So positions which you are guaranteed by diplomacy and thus no one else will take, but which you haven't yet taken yourself. And that's great for maximizing the end result of your expansion. So in an ideal world, the deal I have with Ulm, the deals with Machaka and Ashdod will protect my expansion in these areas, which allows me to send early resources out here until I have a guarantee. That's probably helped by rumour is, as I said last turn, continues to be that Ashdod is booking it for the undead in Urmor, and what we all suspect will come to pass is coming to pass. So moves next turn, and then I'll talk about diplomacy quickly, and then I'll sign off. This army is coming down here. We're suiciding an Apu down here to see just how many Jaguar tribe there are, and we're suiciding another Apu into Dumna. The reason we're doing that is because the local human settlers here seem to be masters of frickin' Maskarovka. Like, one turn there's like mostly elephants, and there's 50 units. Next turn there's no frickin' elephants. It's like they're hiding elephants under camouflage nets or something. There's some, I don't know, are they inflatable decoy elephants? Are they real? I don't know. There are real elephants here, but the question is how many, and how many decides things, because slingers will not stop me. Slingers, you drop enough birds on them and you kill them. You just murder them, but the war elephants will trample, and while thunder weapons are good against elephants, you need enough sacreds to make it worth it. So I just want to know the numbers so I can estimate what it will take to take this juicy 120 income province. It won't be 120 income once I apply my full scales to it. So we're going to, again, glorious death, hooray, these guys are going to go die and capture slaves. Continuing to recruit expansion party, and we're getting our first Inca, because I am sick and tired of messing around with our Aklas. It's time for our first proper expansion party, especially since we're getting, we're 2 turns from Conjuration 3 at this point. So we're gonna get an Inca. Inca are more survivable than Aklas. Incas can Divine Bless. Incas can Smite and add a little bit of firepower to the army. Incas are mobile. Incas are great. So we're gonna get the first one now, rather than wasting more capital turns on Aklas. Because in a long-term move economy sense, you want more Inca than anything else. In the early days out of your cap. We're also doing a few other recruitments. So down here, recruiting a scout. This expansion is anemic. We're at turn 5, we're at 4 provinces. And we're going for 5 for turn 6. Like, we are not expanding well, but I need to get a fort up. So what I've done is I've actually approached Ulm over here, and I don't trust Mr. Root particularly, but it's rare that he'll outright lie. Last game he tended to fool me with half truths rather than direct lies, and he basically was talking about how much money he has and how he's resource capped and how he's waiting to get some better locations for his forts, which makes me think that either he's expanding really well, he has a Wake Expander, or both, and I'm pretty sure now that he's booking it this way. So yeah, we'll wait for updates on that. So he was basically talking about how flush with cash he was in relation to why he didn't feel bad paying me the money for land rights over there, which is funny because now I can leave it and maybe Ys will take it, which will be hilarious. I shouldn't say that, that's bad, but Ys probably does want a beachhead around here. They can't have anything within 2 of my cap, but they might land here or something. And I've arranged to borrow a chunk of money. So I'm going to borrow gold, and I'm going to use it to get an early fort down. Because I need... My recruitment's not really resource-based, but I need another place to recruit commanders. I need another place to recruit troops. I just need to get my recruitment up. I'm so desperate that I am recruiting these sling human warriors. Because I don't have the resources for the javelins. Just to get a few extra numbers with this initial patrol group and just have stuff because my scales are constraining me so much. So I'm actually recruiting humans there. So that scout there will start fortress construction here. In an ideal world, fortress would go here. Squeeze out a little extra income. Or maybe the fort would go here. But I can't take this, and I can't take this. And we need a fort because we're coming up on turn 6, so we're going to borrow money and we're going to start a fortress here. That'll at least get some infrastructure going. We can eventually temple, lab it, get commanders. But I wanted something, so yeah, cut a deal. Do I want to talk about any extra diplomacy now? I think I do. In other diplomacy, so Asphodel lives up here. Ermor lives over here. And between us, the beloved nations of Nazca, Ermor, and Asphodel lives the ever-scary Ashdod, who I have a peace deal with, but who I'm utterly terrified of, and I wish he wasn't there, and he's probably going to kill the others anyway. But we all feel horribly threatened by Ashdod, so I've got a good working relationship with my fellow Cancer nations now, because unlike most other people in this game, they're not going to hate me just because I'm Nazca. They know what it's like. Like, Ermor's public enemy number 1. Asphodel is like baby Ermor in most people's eyes. So, like, we're on good terms. That doesn't mean we wouldn't go to war if we all survive eventually, but for now, we're going to, cooperate, share notes on the giants, because we're all uniformly terrified of them. And I think that's justified. Jack Law is a bloody good player by reputation. He's really active in the community, and he's controlling a Blessed Rush nation. Who, according to scout reports that have been shared with me, is carrying exactly the sort of bless I thought he would, which includes Blood Bond, Regeneration, and 15 Shock Resistance. And at 15 Shock Resist, I won't cut through it, even with Fate Weaving. And with Regeneration and Blood Bond, I just won't do enough conventional damage, even with Strength +2, to hurt him. Like, I just won't be able to kill those giants without giant blobs of Sacreds, and at this point in the game, he's probably recruiting 2, 3, maybe even 4 Anakites per turn, and I'm recruiting 4 Condor Warriors per turn. So it's going to take a lot more than 4 Condor Warriors. Obviously, Condor Warriors are more gold. They're cheaper in gold terms, but they won't beat a giant one-on-one. So yeah, I'm terrified. Negotiations going well with Uruk. I think we're going to talk about this province, whether or not he wants to buy it or whether he'll let me have it, but one way or the other, I have a claim here and I can't let that go. I can't be constrained to these borders. 1 from cap is just unacceptable for Nazca, especially considering, despite my anemic expansion, I'm going to need an early war. So I think Uruk understands that. The fact that Uruk is already out here, though, and I'm not seeing any Pythium flags, lends credence to the idea that either Pythium is not expanding well, or Pythium is throwing their expansion energy towards Ermor, possibly in coordination with Ashdod, which brings home even more the fact that Ermor is probably doomed, but I'm not going to count Nosy Rat out. I will never count Nosy Rat out, because as I said last game, This is the guy who turned a 4-player coalition around and just dunked it. So, look, we'll see. We'll share intel for now, but we'll see what happens. So that's turn 5. Not great. Our income is super anemic. Our province count is low. We have no infrastructure going up. We've lost an expansion party, and our options are thinning. But our diplomacy is okay, and I'm hoping everything will change when we hit Conjuration 3, and Nazca transitions from its anemic early game power curve, so early Year 0 reliance on cap-only sacreds, to having summonable sacreds in much larger numbers, and hopefully at that point Nazca will kick itself into a higher gear. But for now, that's been turn 5. Pray for Nazca, and I'll see you in turn 6. Okay, yet again onto the breach, turn 6, and look, it's been a hard study this turn in early game Nazca play, so we'll go through it. Just keep in mind as we do that I've had a bev or two because it's been a hard turn in a big week, but that's okay, we'll recover. But first, let's bring you up to date on what happened to Nazca this week. So, we sacrificed our Apu in Helmshire, which is the province to the far west. Probably quite rich. We had a look at it and we're like, okay, 3 mounted commanders and a priest at the back, so 4 commanders you have to kill, and 3 of them are hugging this group of militia quite closely. Blob of heavy cavalry, but they're arrayed off to the right over there, so this may be a candidate for backstabbing if you can bring sufficient forces. Now, the next battle was Giant Spine, which is this one here. So you'll remember I was very blasé about Giant Spine. I was like, oh no, there's nothing there, there's barely any units, it's mostly militia, we'll take it with our small diminished force. Never listen to a voice in your head when you're playing Flyers. It says take your small diminished force and handle anything. You must do everything in numbers, otherwise this happens. So there were 3 mounted commanders there and 3 heavy cavalry. And what essentially happened here was, I won't show it again because it's too painful. We dropped on the militia rather than the mounted commanders, and in the time it took us to kill the militia, the heavy cavalry advanced, ran past our archers, and murdered our commander, forcing a retreat, just as we killed their commander. So both armies then routed, but because we're Flyers, we left the field instantly, which means the enemy gets to retain the field with 6 whole units. So this province is now held by an absolute skeleton staff, but we lost. And in the process of losing, we lost a bunch of extra units on retreat, as well as the Akla and the Condor Warrior that we lost as part of that. So that was a big chunk of gold and time spent and opportunity costs that we really didn't want to accrue, yet we did. Misty Forest. It was another sacrifice play by our Apu who wants to go up the Nazcan social ladder, and that just validated the Jaguar tribe numbers. 2 commanders, 65 units. Doable. But we've now got dominion over the province. We can see it's 26 income, so probably still not worth it to go after it until we can get a decent blob and we've consolidated our borders elsewhere. Final battle, Doomna, another scout, sacrificed 9 war elephants. 9 and 3 commanders for bonus points. So yeah, we're not going to get that juicy 120 income anytime soon. We're leaving it. So it's turn 6 and we have 4 provinces, 384 income, and our only research is being provided by our Pretender God, and we're down to 1.5 expansion parties. But that's okay. It does, however, bring home the costs you pay as Nazca, because you have an awake, but the usual return on investment you get for having an awake is that it's usually an expander, so you get additional provinces as the price for not having scales. If instead of an awake you take scales, you can afford more troops and have more expansion parties, which can translate into land. Not as much as having an awake expander, but still translate into land. Nazca doesn't get to do either, because Nazca has relatively weak number-limited, cap-only sacreds, and an immobile researching god that cannot be expanding. So for the moment at least, we are suffering a little bit on 4 provinces, and I just hope that no one knows how much we are suffering. But you can't let that get you down. Let's talk about what we're doing. So this province has no commanders now. And because it has no commanders, we're just moving in a scout. The scout that I said that was going to be building a fortress, yeah, we didn't get our money this turn. So he's going to move in here and he's going to conquer that province by himself because they'll all run away as soon as he arrives. So we're going to be one turn behind on taking Giant Spine, but we're going to take it without using troops. This commander here, Kachi, who I had here as a patrol group to try and get unrest down quickly to eke out whatever income I could, he's now going to earn his due by coming over here and collecting the 5 Condor Warriors and remaining troops that are there. They'll be useful for something. Meanwhile, we have a patrol group of slaves and things that are massing up here, and an Akla that's taking the command limit, this time consisting predominantly of Sacreds and a few Lancers on Guard Commander to prevent the bullshit that I just had with my commander being murdered by heavy cavalry. And we're going to take a shot at 197. We're going to take a shot at 197 because it's valuable, because we already cut down the numbers in the province, and now I think I can take it. I may be falling into the trap again of trying to make up for lost time and as a result burying myself and compounding my losses, but I feel like I have to do something, otherwise I'm just going to fall way too far behind. So yeah, turn 6, 4 provinces. Go me. Other events, we did some patrolling, and we had obviously the 3 Apu die and the Akla die. Now, the Akla, this is a brain fart on my part, and it's one that I don't notice because I record these in groups of 3 or 4 usually. I didn't notice until later that I set this Akla to reanimate long dead rather than prophetizing and going to Sapias. So I don't notice that for a few turns, which is not good. At the time, I remember thinking, oh, I'll reanimate some long dead and they'll be helpful in bulking out my forces early. But the reality is, I've already got 4 reanimators up, plus a patroller who's bringing this unrest down to bring the income up. We just had one guy produce this line of Hatun Runa last turn. We're now going to have 4. And that number may increase again over time. But we should be having good slave flow for turn 6 relatively soon. So that should make up our numbers. We shouldn't need long dead. Inca will be ready next turn, along with another block of Sacreds and a few more Lancers. So that was a disappointing turn. I'm sure, based on my conversations with Ulm, with Machaka, with Ashvada, with Ermor, with Ashdod, with Shinayama, with Facia, Uruk, that I am well behind in the expansion game. And I'm behind in the expansion game even relative to the Scales build nations who are bringing in a lot more income than me. So I really need to kick it into high gear and recover from this anemic early game Nazcan expansion. Turn 7, we'll see if we're back on track. Okay, so turn 7 of Yet Again Unto the Breach. Still not a great time for Nazca, but there's a few things happening that are causing us to feel like we're clawing things back. So, first things first. Scout ran into Giant Spine, said, hi guys, and the independent armies of heavy and light cavalry, because there was no one there to tell them what to do, decided to just book it. Book it from this, presumably, about 100 dudes in leather cap and cuirass with daggers. Yeah, fear him. Dominions is weird sometimes. And then in the other province that we attacked, this time we did it right. So this time, against a smaller force than last time, because we wore it down last time, we brought more Sacreds and a few Lancers with a group of bodyguards to make sure the commander isn't backstabbed. Enemy advanced just like they did last time. And just like in the Calum /Nazca /EA Jabolba training manuals, our flyers dropped on the rear commanders, stabbed them all to death, causing these guys to any moment now rout. Yep. Which brings their stats right down, which allows us to massacre them for experience points, which will hopefully buff the stats on our units after that. So that was good. That was a 0 losses, clean drop, clean kills, took the province attack. Now that means we are at turn 7 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are still way behind the expansion curve, but we're not as bad as we were, and we picked up an extra 115 income that turn. And we've started to consolidate our troops. Now, a few more assets came online, which means we can continue the expansion train. So this army here, I feel, has enough Sacreds to make an impact and move into Tifia 172. Now, it looks like mostly archers and militia with some heavy infantry. This is also the maximum extent of the border that I have agreed with Ulm, because he's, placed a lien over a lot of this territory here, which I'm not allowed to take because he's compensated me for it. But we're going to take a shot at a Tifia 172 and see what we can get out of it. I'm hopeful. More ambitious, perhaps, is this attack over west. So we just scouted Helmshire last turn. We saw that a couple of commanders, a good chunk of heavy cavalry. But we're going to bring our first lot of slaves. We're going to bring 2 groups of Sacreds, throw Divine Blessing from our Inca, who will then air shield himself to prevent any random javelins or arrows, sermon of courage, and then start throwing our Smite Smell, which will hopefully take out a couple of heavy cavalry with Watery Death. Great... probably not the best smite, but a good smite in terms of throwing extra damage on units that can't breathe underwater. And we'll sneak the scout through only because we want to send the scout further afterwards. So I'm going to take a risk there. You'll see the Inca had come out, and you'll see we've started to be able to bulk out the troop line now. So that was 2 turns of slave production, gave me 30 units, 1 turn of 1 Malki, and 1 turn of 4 Malki. And we'll keep them producing for the moment. This will just serve to bulk out this army, and the Inca's motivational stats will help keep this unit in line. Also, impressively, this is our first Inca of the game. Do you notice anything weird about him? He's Fire 3. Inca are not naturally Fire 3. Inca are Fire 2, with a 10% random to get Fire, Air, or Astral. So this Inca is absolutely a special snowflake of a creature who we will try to keep alive, because this is the only way Nazca has native access to Fire 3. Now, I have it on my Pretender, but you don't want to spend Pretender turns on anything. So this Fire 3 is handy. We want to keep this guy alive. It's not going to stop us deploying into battle. We can't afford that, but still. Need to keep him alive. Clearly, Misfortune doesn't nerf your randoms on your mages. Other recruitment. We're getting out a Royal Monkey. I know I said I was going to use a fort, and I got my borrowed money from Ulm, and I got a payoff from Ulm, and I got some air gems from Ulm, all of which relate to agreements which we are entering into around information sharing and territory and things like that. I promised to return the favour on the air gems. I'm just scrounging up as many as I can. He's basically said if you get Earth gems in the future, I need them. I have some Earth gems now, but not many, so he's agreed to hold off and tell me when he needs them, and then he'll call in that favour, and he'll get more than 4 Earth gems for those 4 air gems, but I just really needed them right now. So all of that largesse allowed me to slap a palisade down, which I can't remember. I'm not sure if I did that last turn or this turn. 4 months remaining, so it must have been last turn. And still have enough money left over to produce a Royal Malki. 850 gold Super Mage at turn 7 while I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 territories. Count them again, 6 territories. Is this a good idea? I don't know. But to me, because of what's about to happen in terms of transitioning my warfighting capacity, I feel a desperate need to start site searching, and the Royal Malki, if you're going to site search, do it properly, and a Royal Malki is the proper way to do it. You can search a province for all the paths you have access to except for nature off the bat with 1 recruitment turn. And after this, I want to get back to recruiting slow to recruit capital-only mages like Inca and Koya, probably another Inca. So I'm going to recruit a Royal Malki and get him site searching, even though that means I'm foregoing the right to get, say, a second fortress up at this point. But thank you, Ulm. I appreciate it. I know I said it was money for a fort, but hey, you're trading me for my gems. You should be happy that I'm searching for gems. And I didn't undertake to spend the money specifically on a Malki. So yeah, there's that. Other news this turn. Haha. See the messages. Researching Conjuration is complete. Conjuration has been researched to level 3. Next to be researched is Evocation 1. So for the last 7 turns, we have suffered through Nazca probably at the worst it ever is in a game. It's a point where you have an awake that can't expand, a small number of sacreds that are too cheap to effectively use your bless to expand, not enough money, resources, or recruitment points to get the troops to expand, and you just have the worst of all worlds. And we felt it. We felt it with the very slow pace of our expansion. But you know what? That is about to change, because this turn, Air Tax in Immortal, he's casting Summoning Condors. We're throwing our first 9 air gems into it. I'm going to try and trade for a few more so we can hopefully get another cast off soon. And this will give us 20 Condors. I'm not sure I even have 20 Condor Warriors in service at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And over here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, okay. So we will more than double our count of Sacreds this turn, and Condors against most threat types are superior to Condor Warriors. They just do more damage, they have more damage output, they're squishier, but who cares? So, you've seen Anemic Nazca, you've seen Weak Nazca. We're about to turn on the Summoning Tap and realize some of the benefit that we invested all of this money, effort, and time, and entire design philosophy into getting in the first instance. So, next turn we'll see what those Condors can deliver me. But for the moment, we've got one more turn, hopefully grab 2 provinces using our conventional troops. Now, on that optimistic note, and before I go, let's talk geopolitics and global happenings. Machaka is here. So Machaka took Solam, they've moved their dominion in. There's a single commander here, which makes me think there is a fortress going up here. That makes sense. It's a defensible border. It's probably a high-income province. He probably wants to be able to recruit here. I don't have a problem with him fortifying my border as long as he doesn't stack a really large army there. But it also means that Machaka is probably expanding quite well. And given we're starting to see his scales affect this province, and we're seeing luck growth production. Wow, okay, so if he's expanding as well or better than us and has scales like that, then he will be raking in far more income than we do, which means we really need to pick up the pace, or his financial advantage will compound and compound and compound. And I know he's an ally, not an enemy, but he's an indicative yardstick of progress, right? Like if you see Machaka doing really well, you start to be concerned that someone with more power might be doing really well as well. Oryx, for example, is by all accounts expanding very well. Now, I've had some good conversations here. We had negotiations over Helmshire. There was some back and forth over how much it was worth for Uruk to pay. In the end, they deigned not to buy it at the prices I was asking and said, no, you go along and have it. And Uruk has agreed they will not contest the 2 line from my cap. So here, 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 here. That's the 2 line, that's my red line, and it should be a decent income base. And I'm now relatively confident I'll get it, because I'm scouting this out, and you can see Pythium is here and hasn't cleared their cap circle in this direction, but they have gone north and south. Now that to me says maybe they're a scales build, or maybe they're just single-handedly focused in one of these directions, either towards Man or towards Ermor. I have a suspicion it may be towards Ermor with the goal of taking this land before Ermor's domain kills it, and taking their extremely valuable Death Gem site, which by all accounts is also Ashdod's plan. And I'm sharing what I learned that isn't told to me in confidence freely with the pop kills at this point, to hopefully give them some more survivability against the Giants, because the Giants are by all accounts coming for them and will probably win. Who else have I talked to? I've talked to Ker Yis. So Ernie is playing Ker Yis. Ernie is a absolute champion Ys player, and was a good ally the last game, where because we were in the late age couldn't play Ys and had to play Arithia instead, and was a good honest ally who stuck with me the whole game. So making contact here, certainly no pushover, wants fair conditions. By all accounts there's going to be a throwdown in the water. This is my read based on the conversations I've had. There's probably going to be a throwdown on the water between Middle Age Relay up here, Ys here, and the nation in the middle is Middle-aged Atlantis. And the thing you need to realize about Middle-aged Atlantis is that of the 3, they are probably the strongest underwater. Ys is really hamstrung underwater. They start underwater, but their sacreds, the Morvark Knights, so basically relatives of the Tuatha on amphibious horse mounts, are much better on land than they are underwater. Underwater, they are glamoured and have a lance attack, but on land, they're still glamoured and they still have the lance, but they also have hoof and an area of effect fire breath attack. So they cut through people on land. Underwater, they're less threatening and they're still very, very expensive and limited. Added to the fact that Ys's underwater troops, we may as well have a look at this. Ys, here we are. Even Igoki. So this is a Morvok Knight. As I said, you only see the Golden Lance attack because they're underwater. On land, they get an extra attack set. They do also have the Knight of Ys, but the Knight of Ys suffers the same problem, only a single attack underwater. And their underwater troop lineup, things like the Ysian infantry, who are Mero, are really just not good. Like, Ysian infantry have 19 resource costs for 9 attack, 11 defense. They're 12 gold, 15 damage bronze spear. Like, they're not good troops. They're not good troops for what they are. You have to pay 23 resources to go up to Prot 17 with attack 10, defense 11, and you're still only doing... Well, you're doing... 16 damage is decent. 16 damage is the damage of my Condor warriors as a default when blessed. So it's okay, but again, 15 gold. These are getting up towards Condor warrior prices. So Ys is not an underwater powerhouse, and perhaps even more importantly than that, if you look at their mage lineup, their underwater is they have water 1. They can random water 2, but not water 2 and astral at the same time. And water 1. Now they can go to water 2 and random water 3 on this 420 gold slow to recruit spell singing Cat Morgan Sorceress. But one problem they have there, if you see that, is there's no easy water elemental summoning, and of course lesser water elementals and water elementals are king of underwater combat. The situation for Relay is slightly better. So Relay has water 2 slave mages who can random water 3. So 1 in 4 of them will be able to throw full-size water elementals eventually, and they can all communion in order to summon water elementals. Their underwater troop lineup is okay, because they have a combination of Meteorite Guard, who are high prot, high magic damage underwater troops, but 33 resources, which limits your ability to raise a large number of them, unless you have really good scales. And they also have troops from the Triton line. Where are the Triton line troops? There we are. So a Slave Guardian is a Triton. You can tell because they've got the 2 fins rather than 1. And Tritons are actually quite good troops. They have attack 11, defense 12. They've got some protection. They've got high damage, 15 hit points, and only cost 9 gold. And they're slaves, so they have reduced upkeep. Now they're aquatic, which means they're limited to the water, but it does mean that Middle Age Relay has more underwater fighting power than others. I won't talk about the Crab Hybrid. He's technically an underwater unit, but I don't think it's worth it. And they can support that troop lineup with Mind Blasters. So Illithids are Mind Blasters, Illicid Soldiers are Armoured Mind Blasters, but you won't recruit them because you'll want the resources to recruit a line of Meteorite Guard blockers, because if the enemy gets to your Illithid Soldiers, you've probably lost already. So they're slightly better. But in between them is Atlantis. And Atlantis is pretty clearly the underwater combat powerhouse of the group. So they have, in no particular order, War Lobsters, probably a pass, but hey, it's a trampling size 5 underwater troop, but probably too expensive in gold terms. But if he has bonus gold, he might consider them. Mother Garter is Sacreds, and these are good underwater Sacreds. Very high damage Coral Glaive, good stats, 25 hit points, which gives them good survivability, 16 protection, and they've got the Poison Barbs. And the Poison Barbs are important because if Relay brings a mass of their Shambler Thralls or Lobo Guard, all of whom use length 0 weapons or trample, they'll proc these Poison Barbs and kill themselves quite quickly. So this is a good Sacred unit, especially if there's a good Bless attached to it. And they also have just a decent infantry lineup who cost fewer resources than the Ysien equivalent, have better stats than the Ysien equivalent, and have Poison Barbs. So, yeah, they're just better. The Mage lineup is also built for good Water Elemental suffering, so summoning. So, Water 2, and you're only paying for Water 2 in the random. Quarter of them will be Water 3. Great. The King of the Deep is not that expensive for a size 4 mage chassis, and that always gives you Water 3 with a possibility of +2 levels. You can get Water 5 on 1 in 4 of these. Yes, slow to recruit, but these guys can spam water elementals when you research them. And water magic, other than water elements, is still king underwater. And Kings of the Deep are, well, they're the kings in that role. You also get Deep Seers. Deep Seers are Water 3, Astral 2. They're not slow to recruit. So this is a quick recruit water elemental summoner who is also sacred and will carry your bless. Are you starting to see what I'm getting at here? These are the coastal recruits, so you can't get them yet. So coupled with 5 water gems per turn from the capital, you have a country which is extremely well suited to fighting an early game underwater war, or a mid-game underwater war, or a late-game underwater war. Water magic is king in all of them. So it sounds like Kyrgyz and Relay will combine forces in an attempt to contain Atlantis, because otherwise, word has it, Atlantis was planning on killing one and then turning around and killing the other, which is a completely predictable thing for Atlantis to do, and just provides an extra incentive for the forces on two sides of him to combine their individually mediocre underwater combat capability for a force that might actually be able to beat him. So that's the politics of the water realms. This is a big lake. Ideally, we want some land in that lake, but really, we're going to have to leave it to the water nations. And because he's a good bloke, I'm really hoping. Sorry, I should refer to them by pretenders. Because she's awesome, Eva Nagoki. I'm backing Eva for that particular campaign. So, anything else in terms of diplomacy? I don't think so. Uruk expanding well, Pythium not expanding particularly well. This war up here, Ulm. Okay, so intel on the Ulmish. So we found out a couple of things this turn. So Ulm is probably flush with cash, and the reason they're flush with cash is not only are they expanding well with their troops, and apparently have, I think, 2 forts under construction, they took an awake thrice-horned boar with a minimal bless, but enough of a bless to allow them to still have, good scales, but of course they were able to take Drain 3 because they're Ulm, and I think they dumped their temperature as well by what I've heard. So they've got an Awake Expander and the scales to support really good Ulmish expansion with Knights and Infantry. And they are booking it. They are booking it from their capital dead east. They have not consolidated this area at all around their capital because they are committed to sealing off all of this land here. I don't know what Mr. Root is thinking here, but I can kind of see the logic in trying to secure this area because it would otherwise be under threat from Celeria. As soon as Celeria had skeletons, they'd be able to cross this river. Or during winter, they might be able to do it. So it might be about sealing that land off from Celeria and trusting in deals to keep this land out of my hands. It also may be because he's identified a potential target, and I'm not sure whether that is Celeria or Man, but from what I've heard, I think he's getting up in Man's stuff right about now. So that works for me. It answers my question of why is Ulm so cooperative. It's because he has an Awake God and good scales and good troops that are really good early game, and he's decided to come over here and bully someone who does not have quite the same offering, although I wouldn't call Man a pushover. Like, they'll have Wardens of Avalon that do large damage and will carry a bless, and with that large damage, they'll be able to cut through Ulmish armor. They have Knights of Avalon, who are expensive in resources of gold, but have 4 attacks, one of which is magical, and they have a lance, which is 21 damage, and they have great stats and 17 defense. So Man is not defenseless by any accounts. Neither is Celeria, obviously. Scaleria. But yeah, we'll see what happens and we'll report back. So that's it. That's a list of people who are having a more successful game than I am so far. Nazca is probably bottom third of the pack at this point of the game, but we're summoning Condors. Our luck's about to turn, guys, so we'll see what happens next turn.